Hey guys, Greg here, Underground Graphics. Today is going to be a busy day. We've had our Bronco Sport now for a little over 2 weeks, and maybe 3. Anyway, we've been hard at work. We've got a couple kits that have gone out, some teaser photos of our retro panels. We did a video of that earlier in the week, and now we've got, I don't even know, probably 16, 17 kits that we're going to put on today. I said we were going to come out strong with the Bronco Sport, and we're definitely going to do that for you today. It's going to be a mix of a lot of kits, so we're going to do our best to kind of chop up this video so you've got installed videos for each of those kits. Basically what we're going to be looking at is our most popular for the full size. We've got those 3 bars, the 5 bars, all the variations thereof for each, as well as colors for each. We've also got the first high, I believe the version 1, the version 2, a single color as well as a 2 color. We're going to accent that orange with that Badlands logo. And as well, we've got the Heritage stripe, which has been very popular for the full-size Bronco. And we're going to do our version of we'll call the Freedom, which is going to be that 5-bar color going down the side. As well, we're going to have that in colors as well, the grays, the blues, and I think we got a brown cut as well. I know in the back we've got our full size. Not sure if we've talked about that, but we did pick up another full size Bronco. Also in white. We've got those bronze wheels back on that for the time being to show you what that brown looks like on there. Again, the bronze and the brown have been great accents for those bronze wheels. It looks amazing on white, cactus, and a few of the other colors, black as well. So we've got a lot going on today. I want to give a special shout out, thank you to 1552 and Cobb Tuning as well for being a part of this project with us. Happy to have them along for the ride. Love those wheels. I think it gives us kind of like a rally heritage look to it. Still waiting for some more goodies to come onto this, but I think we're going to love this little vehicle. Anyway, let's get started, and I'm going to show you kind of some of these tools, what we're going to be using. I will say up front with the thin lines that come here along the top, it took us quite a while to get that straight. We're going to follow about 1/8 of an inch above this hood line. I got a measurement for you here, and then it's going to continue on here. We got a measurement for you for the handles, a measurement for you here at center from the trim down. Again, I'll get those measurements once we get to that part. And then again, measure here, and that's going to continue to match up here, and just have to eyeball that straight, basically along that top seam back here to that stripe. There is a lot of curve on this vehicle, so you do have to measure. Be very careful when we hit these 2 panels here. We were having the issues really on this back door, so again, we're going to go in it on each install. Measure before you apply this. Again, our kits are wrap material. They are not wet installs. It's dry only. We've had some people talk about doing these wet. It's been done. It's not recommended by the manufacturer, although it can be done. Again, we do not recommend it. So you do want to make sure it is in place and where that is supposed to be. We also offer IPC on a lot of these kits. There's a few of them that do not have it, but IPC is that Install Protection Care. If you make a mistake, and again, it's just a mistake, one stripe goes on crooked, so if you do mess up that back door, all we ask is that you follow our procedures, the directions on how to claim that. We want to see pictures, don't just rip it off. We want to know what happened. Let us take a photo, explain what happened, and we will get you a new piece out with, we just ask for shipping. Anyway, like I said, let's look over here at these tools. Masking tape, you're going to need lots of masking tape. You are going to need to measure, so get yourself a tape measure, maybe a ruler. We're going to use this plastic razor to get that Badlands badge off when we get to that 5-bar or that side piece, the side panels. This is the squeegee that's going to be provided with that kit. They're fantastic for short-term use. I wouldn't use this all the time here at our shop, but again, to do a kit, it's going to be fantastic. Probably last you several kits. With this, there is no soft edge on that. These are the squeegees we use here at the shop. These are kind of pricey, so we don't include those with the kit, but we will provide this. And then we have new pieces of tools that are on the site. This is called a monkey strip, and we do use these here inside at our shop as well. 3M squeegees, they're fantastic. They will last you forever. So if you want to pick up one of these, we got those, and if you want to put that strip on there, it's just to peel off the back, lay it flat, peel it over, and then you've got that on there. So then you can put this on here. You can do whatever you want to do with those tools, and of course a blade. We like to use these breakaway blades. Again, a little higher end than what you can get on the site, but we do have some craft knives on the site if you need those. So obviously a little bit of those tools, pair of scissors, and then we always talk about that alcohol water mix. We like to use a 10% alcohol solution with 90% water in a 16-ounce bottle. That's going to be the mix for that. We should have those on the site soon as well. We're just going to get some pre-mixed stuff for you. If you don't want to mess with that, we'll have it for you, but not hard to find that in the house. So anyway, let's pause. We're going to get set up and we'll get going on our first kit. This one is going to be the 3-bar and 5-bar kits. So if you followed our full-size Bronco, you know that that's a big hit with us. Those are the colored bars. They're going to go from front to back, following that upper body line, just above this hood seam, straight back over the handles. Should be right on top of that gas lid. We're going to have 4 options for colors and 4 options for the rear back of the stripe. These are our 3 bars. We have a 3-bar hood to match that kit. And I got our 5 bars over here on my right, 5-bar hood up here. We've got that back window template. And again, with any of these kits, we can modify, change colors, do stuff that's custom. So essentially 16 different kits on this. We're going to do an installation on one. Red is our favorite color for this kit. That's that red, orange, yellow. We're going to do that with a 3-bar. We also have a matching hood that goes with it, so we'll do the hood for that as well. Notes on the hood, you'll see when we get there, they do come as one piece. This one we masked it accidentally early, so we'll have to do that as 2 pieces, but yours will come as one piece should you choose to pick that hood. Most importantly with this is going to be the measurements. As we've mentioned over and over again, this Bronco Sport has a lot of body curves. Very undefined body line, so it's going to be hard to match up like we can on the Spear on the full-size Bronco. We've got the hood line to follow up with, which is going to match up right here. Looks like we got about 1/8 of an inch. We're going to be showing a paint. That's going to be our first piece. Above that, we're going to have a finish line up here at 1 1/8 inch above that vent. From here, we're going to line up this door to that stripe, and then we're going to have that door handle as a measurement. Looks like we're at 2.5 inches from the bottom of that stripe to the top of the handle. From here, we're right here in about the middle section, from that window trim to the bottom of the stripe, 3.5 inches, and then here at the back, at the front of that door handle, 2.5 inches again from the bottom of that stripe to the door handle, and then we're going to use this back stripe to match up to this door, and then use this top seam up here, that line. You can get that. Hopefully you're not doing this outside in the sun. We've got that LED lighting in here where we see glare very well, but you want to measure that as well, or just make sure you're happy with that line. Once they're all taped up, again, we're always going to tape all of our panels first. Once they're all taped up, we're going to come down, look down that body line, make sure we're happy with it. What we have found so far is this door seems to have the most curve on it, and it's going to want to come up right here in the middle. So you're going to go straight, a little bit high, and then straighten out again. So that's why I want to make sure, measure twice, lay down once. This is not a wet kit, so you're not going to be able to slide this into position. This is a dry install. We use wrap film here, so it's going to be, we think it's the best thing on earth with these dry installs. Once they're done, they're done. If we need to pull it up and reposition, we can, but again, only if needed. So that's how important these measurements are. As soon as we get these done, they will be up on the site. As far as customization goes, again, we have these set. These seem to be the most popular colors. We have had people come back and say, can you change this color to this? Can you do it in shades of purple? Yes, we can. There's an additional fee for color sampling, but absolutely we can. All right, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and tape this right here because I know I'm going to go back to using that. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my first piece, which we've got, let's see, front is here. And I know there's a lot to do. We've been here for a couple hours already, and there's no way we're going to get all this stuff done, but we want to get as much as we can done. There's our front stripe. There's that front door. And once you see this kit, you'll see that these work. The front 2 stripes are the same on every kit. Basically, there may be some minor changes. Again, I'm going to want a piece on the front as a lineup. And that looks like, I'm going to confirm again, but I think that's close, right at about 1/8. Set that right there, and we can pull this tight to make sure we're right on that line. I'm showing 1 1/8 to that vent. And we are right on that. So again, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that there for now and come back to that once we've got everything else done. The importance of that, those pieces in the center too, are so you don't get that shift. So that's why you want to make sure that's pulled tight when you do that, and then be real careful. Just lay that on there, get that taped so that doesn't shift up and down. Again, we're just using this for a lineup, so I'm not worried about going over that, but I do want to make sure I'm getting these kits lined up. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of slack. I can check the back. I've got plenty of room. So this stripe is a little bit overcut, which is fine. Lightly tape. And let's go back and look at this measurement here. 2.5 to the bottom. And that stripe there. I'm at 2. And there's 2.5. Make sure that doesn't shift. I am going to go ahead and mark that. Rear door, same thing, match up to that piece there. We'll come up to the back, make sure I'm over. I got enough overhang on both sides. This one's a little bit tighter. And this back, what's that measurement again? 2.5 to the bottom of that handle. I'm at 2.5. There we go. And again, I want to keep this tight on there. There we go. This is the one that I think we're going to may have to shift a little bit, so I'm going to kind of just be real light with that. This kit is our 3-bar high. So as you can see, it's going to follow that body line up. That was one of the first ones we did on our full size, and again continues to be one of our favorites. We also have a 3-bar sport, high sport, which would be this kit, and then as this comes up it'll shift into 3 hashes, and this should sit right on top of that gas cap. I'm going to go ahead and tape here, and I should go ahead and get, I'm going to follow the line of this. It looks like it's going up, but I think again it's this rear fender going back in. So I'm going to go ahead and tape there. And from here I can do 2 things. I can measure on that seam. Now you can't measure to here because this is pronounced, this is protrudes from the glass itself. So like I said, this is where it gets tricky. If you're using a glare, you can do that as long as it's the same. That's 1 3/8. I'm following this over, and that's 1.5. So I'm just going to step back and go ahead and take that look down here. It looks like I am still a little high in the center. I can still drop this. You've got some room here. Decide what you want to do along the back. Looks like I can even come down a little bit. And I can see I'm high right here. So again, this is going to be a little bit of trial and error. And I say this up front because I definitely want to make sure that you guys are doing everything you can to make sure this is right. As I'm looking down that body line, that helped out quite a bit. I'm going to look at the same thing from the front. Tuck that mirror in. And that was good. That was good. So I think we've got that down. Again, this is my first time, just as it is with you. And that one spot there was my only spot. So we had a 2.5 inch measurement here, which was fine. A 2.5 inch measurement there. I did not measure that 3.5 from mid down. I'm curious to see what that is. It's just a click over. And again, that could be this ruler. I mean, it's right on there. So that's about right. You know, again, it's again, measure, measure, measure. Tape it up, make sure you're happy with where that's at. Now that we're set, we can go ahead and get that kit on there. Got my scissors, I got my knife, and I got my squeegee. I'm all taped up. I'm ready to go. I think we're ready to go. You know, I don't think we went over cleaning these. Again, this is our third kit on this, but that alcohol water mix, 10% alcohol, 90% water in a 16-ounce bottle. That's what we want to prep that surface with. Do not put this over ceramic coating. It will not stick. You can test it, and if it doesn't feel like it's tacking, you know, we, again, test it with the piece of masking tape, and if it's not sticking, it's obviously the kit's not going to work. We found some success with a light polish, just going over, you know, a light compound, light polish over the area of where you're going to put that stripe on. Test that again. If it's not working, you need to go back to your detailer and have that coating in that area removed. Ceramic coating is great for on top of the vinyl, but again, it's not, that vinyl is not going to adhere, and that's the purpose of coating, is to make that easy to clean, give it that hydrophobic surface. So we have already cleaned this. Again, washed our hands. We want to have hands clean. We will be touching the back sides of that, the stripe, that adhesive. And then our environment. We are at 75 degrees. It's a little warm in the garage today, but we want to make sure that we're not doing this outside. We're not out in the wind. You do want this to be in a controlled environment. And we do these installs, so you know, you can decide for yourself. We're not telling you you have to do this on your own. If you're hesitant, watch the video and then make a decision from that. If you want to have someone else install that, which would be basically any wrap shop, a sign shop could do this as well. Show them the video, show them the kits. All of our kits are 3M wrap film, easy to install, dry install only, no water on these. And yeah, anyway, any questions on that, just give us a call before you start on that. And anyway, let's get back to that kit. I've got that piece of tape there. That's going to be my mark. So again, I like this trick where I can just pull that. There's my line up there. We're using our hinge method for every panel. And I'm going to come back and pull, not super hard tight, but I want that to be taut enough just to get that tacked up. And I'm going to come back and go somewhat moderate, not too heavy with that, but we talk about those squeegees as well. This is my own little personal shop squeegee. We do provide you with a plastic squeegee, and you can use that as well on the transfer paper. You don't want to get too crazy going off on that paint. You may get some light surface scratches. It's nothing that can't be taken out with a little buff. But at the same time, if you have that soft edge in that squeegee, which we do have available on the site under the monkey strips, I believe is what they're called, and you can add those to our existing squeegees that come with the kit, or you can also go with the 3M Gold, which I use as well. Those things last forever, so that'll get you a little more of the pro tools. So again, now that I've got this down, I can take those hinges off, but I do want to make sure that I make my mark here. And again, you can do that with a knife. If you do, just be sure you're not cutting through the tape. Just score the tape, it'll pop right up. Sometimes that's a little hard to do, especially on a curve like that, but that's going to be that line coming back. And there goes my scissors. So pull that back. Again, taut. Right back to where we were. Check that line again. And I know I haven't totally tacked here yet, but let me get that tape up. All right. Let's go ahead and peel. The hardest part on these, we cut these so close that you want to get that transfer paper up without lifting that vinyl. And then pull that transfer paper at 180 degrees. Don't pull this up towards me. You can see there's a little bit of bubbles there, came right out. And now we've got our lineup for the next kit as well, the next piece. So there's not a lot of adhesive. You see a little adhesive right on that corner there. But I do want that to tuck, so I wanted to get that in there. And now I got to make sure I get that adhesive off. Roll that under there. Once you open the door, we can get that tucked in there. Once I've taken a little bit of tape, get that off. If not, we got to come back with that alcohol Very important we get that off. Yeah, it's coming off. I'm going to be sure. I'm going to go ahead and get some alcohol on that because you don't want that showing up in our stripe. And again, this is just that alcohol water mix, and that was that adhesive. This 3M is awesome adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and make that cut on here. So since we got more paint showing on our fender than we do on that hood, we're really going to want to cut on that hood side. So fresh blade. We have these as well on the site, but not the breakaways, just your standard craft knife. But I'm going to want to cut. I'm going to drag the top end of that blade that's not the sharp end against that paint, and just a little bit away from that, get that started, and drag that nice and smooth along that edge. There we go. Now we can roll that in. If you want to throw a little bit of heat on those edges before I did what I just did, that'll soften that up and really just kind of roll nice and easy in there. I'll put that tape there in case we need that again. Again, we can never have enough of this tape. We're going to go ahead and get lined up again. We really don't need this tape because we have our lines as our lineup. I'm just going to hold that into position. Come over to the, let me keep that rolled in. Come over to the back side of the stripe. And again, this is that one. We want to make sure this doesn't raise up. So real important. I'm going to have a mark on that, and I'm going to have a mark here on the bottom. Make sure I hit both of those. And even though I'm going right over that, I'm going to pull this back up, pull this back, and kind of go back over. So just to be sure. Taut, not too hard. I don't want to stretch it. But make sure our lineups come back. We are right good on there. Now I'm kind of squeegeeing bottom edge first because I want to make sure that all lined up, and it did. Now I can come back up. Go ahead and do our other side, match up with our front panel. And again, now that that's in place, I can take that off. Make sure that doesn't tack. So I kind of just want to fold that right under that mirror. This one you can give a little tug. You can be a little more aggressive with it, but again, I'm gonna make sure we just lightly lay that on there. Come back, go right down the middle of that. That lined up perfect. I'm gonna give a little tack on there and get that mask started. There we go. Remember that 180 degrees. And here, like I said, I was going to come over that, come right back up. Now I've got a marker. And here I'm going to go ahead and cut. We want to roll this inside edge, so we're going to cut, again, blade not on that paint. Now I'm going to do the front one too. Remember, we're going to roll the door, so we're going to do the same thing. This edge on the top edge of that blade, just get that started, and a nice smooth drag down there. I can pull this top, that overhang off. And again, I talked about that heat. I haven't used a heat gun yet, but you really should. That'll soften that adhesive on this. And then once we open that door, we can really get in there and use our fingers and with that heat get that better tucked. We want to make sure we get all those edges down. So now that that one's down, that looks like a little piece of dirt in there. So we can either come back from here, lift this up, or we can put some tape marks down there, and again, right in the middle of the door, of course, but we can tape that down. Let's go ahead and do that while we're on the video. Alright, so I've just put a tape line on there, give us our straight edge again. I want to check and see what this little piece of dirt is under there. I probably just didn't clean that well enough from our last kit. Pull that piece back. And again, this is a good testament. Either I'm going to mess this whole thing up for you on camera, or I'm going to show you how easy this film is to work with in case of emergency. Now, if something happens, you know, we talk about, I'm not sure if you see on the site, IPC. So, clean hands, don't want to stretch this. Just be real careful with it. I'm going to make sure your hands are clean, because otherwise you're just putting more dirt on the adhesive under this. And there we go. Let's see what that is. I mean, it looks like something in the, I can see it moving. I think we're off of there. So we talk about wet. Again, you really don't want to do this. You don't want to get this soaked, but I do that just to get anything off of there without getting the adhesive rolling over on each other. Now with that back there, you're going to be real careful. Do not pull tight, but line that right back up. I'm going to follow that line. I just got another one there. And that's the danger of pulling this up. Now we've got, that was just air. All right. Don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. Very good. Good. No stretch. That's what you're going to be careful. Do not pull on that very hard. And we can pull our tape line. And again, we'll go back when we're finished. Again, we'll talk about that post heating on everything we do at the end when that's all said and done. All right, so moving on. Let's get this next door. And again, this is that area. Very sure we are lined up. Now I'm going to go right to left. So start back here. Means we're going to pull this one up and just let that tack out of the way. Do our hinge. Don't pull too hard, nice and taut. Line that tape line up. See that a little bit of stress starting to come as that body's going back in now. And there's another little, see that? Let's see if that'll come right out. Nope. Alright, take off our hinge. We got our line up. Don't need this one because now we've got the stripes to line up. That was just to hold it in place. So I'm doing with that is just making sure I don't get any more dust. There are some specs up here. We do have the AC on here. And we're going to line that right back up again. I think we got more tack on that rear. I'm going to pull from back here. There we go. Now this one is barely on that door. Let's see if I can get that just lifted. There we go. Pull that up. Again, heat would be great on this if you want it. That should be fine, but heat will keep you from getting these little fingers in there. This will soften that up, but even that, use the hard side of that to get those down. There you go. We can come back on our rear door. And again, that's just a little bit on there. Give that a little pop. Make sure that is all out. I do want to get the heat gun on this since that's a lot of material. I'm just getting that warm. Make sure all that edge is down. Alright, let's move on to that last panel. Same thing, want to match up our stripes. And again, let's double check just one last time if we're happy where this sits. Again, this body line comes up, looks like it visually goes up, but that's that body curving back in a little bit more narrower. Like in the middle of this vehicle is wider in the middle than it is in the front and rear. So there's lots of hard lines, or I say not hard lines, it's hard to follow the lines. So if we stand back and look down that stripe, you can decide where, if you've got a little bit of play in the height on this. If you can follow this top line, then it may look a little high in the back, but my line I'm looking down is to make sure I'm happy with the bottom of that yellow going all the way down that body line. And I was happy with it there. So I'm gonna leave it just as that is. We're sitting right on top of that fuel line, or the fuel door. Make my little break there. Sometimes you want to be careful, you don't get any hairs. Little piece of paper, so you want to make sure you clean that, wipe that edge. We're gonna come back over, line that tape up, right down the middle. Take off our hinge. We've got no fuel door to worry about this like we do those other panel stripes. Nothing cutting on the back, just that, not anything on the front. Very minimal cutting with this kit. And just match that up. And all the way down. I saw a little bit of bubble coming. There we go. Alright, so as we just finished up our 3-bar there on the side, we're going to come back and go ahead and get this hood done. This hood is our full hood. We do have a few hood options, and this is the one that's going to be coming with that 3-bar or 5-bar kit, as well as some other versions. But again, this one obviously specifically for this kit. Whether you choose the red, the blue, the brown, or the black, that will have that match of color around this ring here. We do like how this kind of kicks out and kind of follows the angle or the lines of these nostrils, is what we call them. And again, will take very little measuring. This front edge comes right to that seam of that hood line. As well, you're going to have just a hair of paint showing here on the back where these line up. And again, these are going to sit just within the base of those nostrils. I have not measured this. I just kind of went over this with by eyesight and look and feel. I just wanted to be sure. We went back over and remember to clean that hood with that alcohol water mix. You don't want anything, that's a huge surface of hoods. You want to make sure that is completely free and clear of any dirt, debris, contaminants, and again, that alcohol water mix will get rid of that. So we have done that. And again, this is going to be that hood hinge method on this hood. This is a big hood, so I may end up getting that step stool. I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape out. And again, just one more. I'm going to go ahead and tape front, make sure that doesn't shift from where I last looked at it. And really, you can also, I mean, this is just a little tip. These are always cut exactly to shape, and if we mark our center here, we know that there's a mark there on top of the windshield where center is. And just get a little tiny crease line on that so we can see where that's at. That can kind of guide us as you look right out that hood. I'm not sure if you can see that, Zach, on camera, that little sensor there inside the glass. Is again at least a starting point, so you know we're in somewhat the right spot. I'm going to go ahead and tape that hood down front, and now I can see I'm way off the back. So let's push that up just a little bit. And again, we do not wrap these edges. If you want to do that custom, let us know. We can do a custom one for you with that will wrap, but this makes for a great mark when you don't wrap the edges. It's also a lot of heat under there. I'm going to check this driver's side. And again, we're just looking at that line of white to make sure we are not up on that nostril. I think we are good. So I've got top, bottom. I've got the top tape. I've got the bottom tape. But we're going to hinge top to bottom. So now we're going to go ahead and do our sides. And let's go ahead and do. I mean, you can really do either way. I think it's good. I'm gonna go ahead and do. Let's go bottom up. It's gonna be a little tricky to get to. Make sure you don't have a belt or anything that's gonna get the front edge of that hood. Or we could do, just to be safe, let's go top down. Again, make sure these are taped real good. I think you may have noticed when we originally went over the beginning of this kit, we talked about this hood being done in two pieces, and we did install that as two pieces, and I did not want to show you what that was going to be like if that wasn't what you were going to get. So we are going back to redo this as a single piece. Just get that started. Again, I love that soft side of that squeegee. I really don't want those to touch, so we want to make sure we're firm, overlapping strokes. Don't really need this lineup now. We have enough surface already down. I know that's going to come down right where we had it taped. Again, just want to make sure there's nothing under there, just real light. And this one, we do want to make sure we don't want that to totally touch. You just don't want to drop it. So keep that off the hood. Let's come back and start those overlapping strokes again. And if you saw, I've got that liner right here. Pull that back. Let's continue back. Hard side. Again, just be careful not to go right over that, hit that paint too hard. You don't want to scratch that paint, but this is alright. Let's look and see how we did on this. And remember, this mask is going to come off at that 180. Couple bubbles up there. Let's go up there. Let's go and get this off. We'll take a look at it. couple spots right here. First thing I'm gonna do is just, yep, that's just a little bit of air. And again, with this air release, typically you can just push that down. This one's not wanting to do that, so I am gonna go ahead and really carefully, that is just on that edge. I'm sure we could poke that, but I know that that's just right there on the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and just real carefully. You don't want this to stretch, so you want to pull from the base of that. If you're going to pull this up, make sure you've got clean hands. Just get that right to there. And real light, soft side of that squeegee. We are all good. Now, if that bubble was further in the middle, then I would have just taken the corner of that knife and just gave it a little pop. But again, with that air release, at least on the black layer, the black layer is 2080. That base layer is that 180 MC. So that's the one that does have to be laid without, you can't lay it as a full piece and work all that stuff out. It does have to come down at an angle. So you do want to make sure you try to get a solid surface area down on that. That top piece up there, remember, if you saw I was reaching over, this would be better with two people if you can, or just make sure you get coverage, even coverage all the way over on all those edges. But that's the hood. That's that 3-bar. That's a full-size hood. So we've got a couple options as well that we'll be releasing for the hood as well, which would be more of like just what the black area is on here. Kind of our standard hood. It'll just be a little bit thinner. We'll have the full, and then we're going to have the third piece as the nostrils on its own set as well. With pinstripe, without pinstripe, with topography, and then we've got a couple other designs we're working on too. So we just finished up our 3-bar red kit. This is one of our favorites. We love these colors on these. This one, again, being our favorite, the brightest we have. Looks great on white. We did get white so we could show all the colors with their best presence. In addition to the red, you'll see on some of our other photos, we'll be doing a blue kit with the blue gradients. We've got a gray kit as well as a brown kit, which goes great with the roast interior if you have that. Otherwise, a set of bronze wheels will really pull off of that brown kit. It's kind of like a tan and a caramel. That again does follow with the hoods, so you've got that choice there as well. We have the 5-bar option, which will have photos up of that as well, which gives you just a little bit more gradient. That one is limited to just the red, the blue, and the black. Also has the hood version of that as well. That 3-bar additionally also has, this is the high, there'll be a sport option as well, which has the 3 hashes that go up in the back, as well as a straight version. I believe that's the version 1 that just goes straight, doesn't have that high pickup, and then the 5-bar will have the high and then just the straight with no versions for the hash. If you guys have any questions on this at all, feel free to reach out. We can do custom as well. We have had people with the full size want to do their own colors within these stripes, and we're happy to oblige. We just need you to provide exact colors, CMYK preferred, and we can go from there. Yeah, again, if you have any questions, give us a call, shoot us an email, be sure to like and subscribe.